Hello everyone, welcome back to Dugout Daily. I'm Charlie and I'm joined by Bernard again. How are you, mate?
I'm fine, mate. Yeah, not too bad. It's gonna get cold again, so get your layers on. But we'll be all right, won't we?
Yeah, we will. We'll get straight to it then. Wednesday night, City 2, Brentford 0 with goals by Riyad Mahrez and Kevin De Bruyne. What was your thoughts on the game overall, Bernard?
Yeah, they made hard work of it, but then I think Brentford forced us to make hard work of it, and we never gave up. That was the point. We were just kept passing away, passing and passing, trying to find those gaps, and people are saying, well, we only scored two because they made errors, but we forced them into making the errors, and that's you can't play against City and not make errors because of the way we play football. It's as simple as that. So thoroughly deserved it on the night. It perhaps could have been a one or two more, but Brentford are a little bit disappointing. A little bit. What's the word? I mean, it was a free hit anyway, wasn't it? So I think they could have had more of a goal. They were going to get beat anyway, so at least have a goal. But I don't think up front they had the quality of player to cause too much problem. To be honest with you.
Yeah, definitely not. We'll get going. We'll get started with the team news then. So of course it was the general 4-3-3 with Edison in goal, a back four with John Stones at right back, Diaz and Laporte at centre back, with Cancelo left back. In the midfield was Rodri, De Bruyne, and Bernardo. Mahrez on the right, Sterling on the left, and Folden in the false nine. What was your thoughts on the team, Bernard?
Yeah, Walker was an interesting one, wasn't it? Obviously, Mahrez was playing, and you think he would have been on the naughty step because of the trouble with Grealish, Mahrez, and Walker. But obviously, that wasn't the case. And obviously, with Walker, I mean, that team there, and if you think about it, could be what he's planning on starting against Sporting next week. So it could be like just a look see to see how it works with Stones at right back, and because obviously Walker can't play in the next three Champions League games. But if we do stay in it, he'll obviously be carried over if we do get knocked out. But yeah, I think that was the reason, and the other reason is I did say that I think Stones is going to get a bit disenchanted because he's not been picking him that much recently. So, I mean, to me, I would play all three. I'd play Laporte, Stones, and Diaz. They're all worthy of a place. Now, if you're going to keep dropping one like John Stones, he's going to get a bit disenchanted. Or say you drop Laporte, we know what Laporte's like. He gets a bit upset if he doesn't play in games. So I think Pep's also trying to keep all three of them happy. He's not too worried about Aki. Aki's borderline anyway, but I think he's trying to shoehorn John Stones in. I think he's got the ability to shoehorn John Stones in different positions as well. I think he can do a lot more than just be a centre half, to be honest with you. But yeah, I think that was more or less trying what he's going to do next week in Lisbon, to be honest with you.
Yeah, definitely. We'll look at the Brentford team then. Their team looked like this. It was David Raya in goal. A back three, of Ethan Pinnock, Pontus Jansson, and Christopher Ayer. Rico Henry was at left wing back with Mads Roerslev at right wing back. The three in the middle was Frank Onyeka, Christian Norgard, and Matthias Jensen, with Sergi Canos and Saman Ghoddos up top. What was your thoughts on the Brentford team, Bernard?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have minded. I don't know how far Eriksen's away from playing. I wouldn't have minded seeing Eriksen in the squad or playing, but obviously that's a while away yet, isn't it? By the looks of it. And of course, is it Tony, the guy? Yeah. I mean, he's one of their better players. I think he was actually injured, was he? On the night. Yeah. And I think it showed because up front, I mean, I've never seen so many offsides in a Premier League game for a while from one team. They always seem to be getting caught offside, and that's not great. That's not great. But that's just shows a lack of cohesion up front. And when they did attack, I think probably about 4 times out of 5 they got shouted offside. So there's not much they could do.
Yeah. Next up, then we'll look at the stats from the game. So the stats look like this: 76% possession to 24, 15 shots to 6, 7 shots on target to 2, 6 shots off target to 2, 2 block shots each, 9 corners to 3, 2 offsides to 10, 7 fouls to 13, 3 big chances to 1, 2 big chances missed to 1, no counter-attacks to 1, no counter-attack shots to 1, 11 shots inside the box to 4, 4 shots outside the box to 2, 2 saves for Edison, 5 for David Raya, 709 passes to 227, 88 of those being accurate for City, 59% for Brentford, 50% accurate long balls for City, 26% for Brentford, 17% accurate crosses for City, 38% for Brentford, 47% successful dribbles to 38%, 133 times we lost possession, Brentford with 129, 47 duels won to 30, 19 aerial duels 1 to 8, 7 tackles to 13, 8 interceptions to 11, and 7 clearances to 30. What's your thoughts on those stats, Bernard?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I forgot Brentford had 6 or 7 shots. I don't particularly remember them. I remember a couple of okay saves from Edison, but yeah, I mean, it was. We weren't prolific, were we? But I think that's because as I say, we're just trying to pass through them and round them because it was so. It's literally they had 10 men, 11 men in the box at times, and obviously as a forward, we weren't getting in behind them. We didn't have a lot of pace. We didn't show a lot of pace, so we weren't really getting in behind. Raheem was doing his best on the wing to get behind him, but we had nothing really on the other side, did we? With no walk and no real pace, we weren't really doing that. So I think they're a fair stats, but I mean, say City would be hoping for a bit more shots on target than that. But as I said, we had to play. We were playing a team that really lacked a lot of creativity outside of their own third of the pitch.
Yeah, definitely. And then the attack momentum looked like this. Brentford with some slight periods, not much, of course. Do you think this fairly represents the game?
Yeah. I mean, that obviously, if you think that their 2 chances there, I think probably after the goal, weren't they? So they probably had a little bit of a go. And obviously, as the game was drawing to an end, they're going to have chances. Of course, they are, and I'd say they're certainly lively in the last 10 minutes. But that graphs pretty much a lot of the games we've done this season. I think very similar.
Yeah, definitely. We'll go to the players then, starting with, of course, the keeper, Edison. His stats look like this: 2 saves from inside the box, 31 touches, 58% accurate passes, 2 out of 12 accurate long balls, 1 out of 1 ground duels were won, none out of 1 aerial duels were won. He was fouled once as well. Thoughts on Edison's performance?
Well, yeah, we got to give him credit for that sort of bit of bravery in the first half. Obviously, I was a bit panicky when the stretcher bearers came running around the pitch. I thought, oh God, but fortunately, it was okay. I mean, I can't imagine. No offense to Stefan, but if you had to go a few games with Stefan in goal, I don't think we'd be going unbeaten for the next few games if that was the case. So I was pretty chuffed when he got up. He's a tough lad. He's a tough lad, isn't he? But he did what he had to do. As I say, Brentford as an attacking force were a bit weak anyway, but I don't remember him particularly doing anything silly. I don't think he had to. I remember I saw an image of him, I think almost on the halfway line at one stage, but he could do that because say how negative Brentford were, and he could do it. But I thought it was all right. As he did what he had to do, and they say he was brave. We can't pick on Edison. I thought he did well.
Yeah. Big up Chelsea fan in the chat as well. Into the back 4 then, of course, right back was makeshift right back John Stones. His stats look like this. 2 clearances, 1 interception, 2 out of 2 ground duels were won, 9 out of 10 aerial duels were won, 15 times he lost possession, 117 touches, 89% accurate passes, none out of 1 accurate crosses, 3 out of 6 accurate long balls, and 2 out of 2 successful dribble attempts. Thoughts on Stones' performance?
Considering he's not been playing much, I thought it was excellent. He didn't say, all right, that slip he had where he chested it down and then fell. It's not the first time he slipped. I think he did it a few games ago around about that the same sort of central area of the pitch, if you remember, and give the opposition a chance. And that's a problem with because we're so sort of one-on-one, if you like, half the time defensively, and we can trust our players to do it. If there is a slip, we know obviously other teams have suffered things like that. We know it's going to cause a problem, but that was it. I can't remember. I mean, and it wasn't perfect, 89% pass completion, but that's because I think he was trying to do the. He's not a Cancelo. He's not that style of player, but he's very positive. And that heat map there, I think it's showing him into the almost into the last third, wasn't it? And he was getting up and working hard. I thought it was excellent. I thought he was excellent at a position he's not familiar with, and he can get up to quite a pace as well when he gets going. I'm not saying from a standing start he's very quick, but he can actually get a rush on when he needs to. Yeah, I thought he was excellent considering he's not been playing much.
Yeah, definitely. Into the two centre backs then, of course, the first one, captain on the night, Ruben Diaz. His stats look like this: 1 clearance, 1 interception, none out of 1. Ground duels were 1, 2 out of 3. Aerial duels were 1, 7 times he lost possession, 1 foul, 87 touches, 93% accurate passes, 1 key pass, 1 out of 2 accurate long balls as well. Thoughts on Ruben Diaz's performance?
He's a leader, mate, and he's what company was to us. Not 100% perfect, of course. He didn't have a lot to do against Brentford. Just had to be tidy, really. And he's a leader. And I think obviously people were pointing things out like because he didn't have much actual defending to do, things like getting the ball for the penalty when the goalkeeper wanted to hang on to it. He went and got it off the goalkeeper and give it to Mahrez to take the penalty and things like this. So, just stuff that a captain does. And that one that was offside that he blocked after Ederson went down with that neck injury. Obviously, he was the one who stood up and blocked it. It was offside, but he didn't know that. He put his body in the way, and that's what you want. Is, if you like, is all right. Not quite up there with Vincent at the moment, but he's obviously not got his injuries like Vincent either. So that's a good thing. But a great solid leader at the back. I don't think we could ask for much more.
No, definitely not. And then his centre-back partner on the night, of course, Emerick Laporte. His stats look like this. 1 clearance, 1 tackle, 1 out of 1 ground duels were 1. 3 times he lost possession, 84 touches, 96% accurate passes, 4 out of 6 accurate long balls, and 1 shot off target as well. Thoughts on Laporte's performance?
Yeah, he had his usual error near the end. He sort of misplaced a pass in about the 89th minute, something like that. And that Laporte always tends to do that. He always gets 1 or 2 bad judgments in a game, which is unfortunate. Obviously, we got away with it, and he was late on anyway. So even if it had probably ended in a goal, we'd probably still been okay. But again, that heat map shows it. He didn't have a lot of defending to do. He was just confident. It's just another, if you like, ability to pass across the line and to find a midfielder to run with it. He's just consistent. He's just consistent. He's a lot better when he's playing next to Diaz anyway, as most of our, whether it's Aki, Stones or Laporte, they all look a lot better playing next to Diaz.
Yeah, definitely. And left back was João Cancelo. His stats look like this. Where's he gone now? João Cancelo. 1 clearance, 3 interceptions, 4 tackles, dribbled past once, 10 out of 13. Ground duels were 1. 21 times he lost possession, 1 foul. He was fouled twice. 118 touches, 80% accurate passes, none out of 4 accurate crosses, 2 out of 7 accurate long balls, 2 shots on target, 2 shots off target, 2 shots blocked, and 4 out of 5 successful dribble attempts. Thoughts on Cancelo's performance?
Yeah, I think that 0 out of 4 crosses were all in the first half, and I thought he was pretty awful to be honest with you, even though overall he had a great game. That first half, his crosses were either overhit or just incorrect. I think that probably backs it up, those stats you just shown me, because it wasn't very good. He got a few groans from around me and from me in that first half when they were shooting towards where I was. But the second half, totally different. I think as Brentford didn't have the same intensity, tired a bit in the second half, and then he took full advantage. It would have been great if he'd scored with that nice jinking run into the box. I compared him to King Clancy, not quite, but obviously the finish was a bit weak. It would have been nice if he'd put that away. And there's a couple of others where he blasted over, when perhaps one in the first half he blasted over when he was getting challenged, though, so that's fair enough. But there's a couple in the second half. But, you know, he has a go, and Pep seemed happy. He was clapping him even though he shot over the bar. But again, brilliant. He played very, very well. But did it actually lead to a goal for City? That's the thing. I used to say the same thing about Walker. Walker used to be great overlapping and doing things, but we never seem to end in a goal, you know, an assist or a goal. And Cancelo's got loads of talent, so I just wanted perhaps one of those chances to go in. It would have been a lot better. But he had a great second half. Don't get me wrong, he had a great second half, but unfortunately, nothing actually went into the old onion bag, which I like to see. So I'm being a bit critical, but yeah, it was great. But I'm not going to rave over him unless he's actually scoring one or two as well, or doing a couple of assists as well. That's what I want to see at the end of some good work, which is what he does. Sometimes, perhaps instead of shooting, he can pass it to someone rather than taking the shot. But he played very well second half, but he didn't have a great first half.
No, he didn't. Into the midfield then. First up, it is Rodri. His stats look like this: 105 touches, 92% accurate passes, 1 key pass, none out of 1 accurate crosses, 7 out of 10 accurate long balls, 1 shot on target, 1 shot off target, none out of 2 successful dribble attempts, 2 out of 7 ground duels were won, 4 out of 6 aerial duels were won, 11 times they lost the possession, 1 foul, he was fouled once, 1 clearance, 1 block shot, 1 tackle, and he was dribbled past twice as well. Thoughts on Rodri's performance?
Not one of his better games, I didn't think. I think he sort of bypassed him a lot of the time. He was okay. He had a reasonable shot that perhaps, almost Rodri's rocket. I wouldn't have called it one of those, that's for sure, sort of a P-roller. But I think that goalie saved it. It went wide. I can't remember now in the second half. But, a bit quiet, which sometimes is a good thing. If sometimes when players are quiet, they're doing a good, steady job. But, a lot of stuff bypassed him. I think the fact we were pushing forward and trying to find the gaps sort of didn't play to Rodri's game. He didn't have to stop things. He didn't have to break anything up Brentford were doing particularly. So he just was part of the cog, just sort of keeping passing sequences going. I don't think it was anything special. I think he was happy just to have a quiet game. I think he could have got a paper out sometimes and had a read, to be honest with you.
Yeah, definitely. He didn't have much to do. Big up talk in the chat as well. The next midfielder then, of course, the goal scorer of the second goal, Kevin De Bruyne. His stats look like this. He scored the goal, 89 touches, 84% accurate passes, 3 key passes, 2 out of 7 accurate crosses, 4 out of 6 accurate long balls, 1 shot on target, 0 out of 2 successful dribble attempts, 2 out of 6 ground duels were won, 2 out of 3 aerial duels were won, 20 times he lost the possession, 1 foul, he was fouled once, 1 offside, 1 clearance, 1 interception, and 1 tackle. Thoughts on De Bruyne's performance, Bernard?
A great goal. I mean, that goal was fantastic. He sort of he didn't actually shoot, did he? He sort of passed it into the goal. He sort of was always passing it between the lines. It was a fantastic goal. He just found the gaps in the keeper and the defenders and passed it into the net, which was superb after Sterling hadn't quite done what we'd hoped he would have done. Apart from that, I thought he wasn't great, but again, I think we've said it the last couple of times. He's actually all over the pitch. We found him at right back, didn't we? Helping John Stones out at one stage. We found him over on the left hand side, coming back and covering for something as well, and that's what I like about it at the moment. He does have a tendency to pick little injuries up, but he looks pretty fit at the moment because he seems to be working really, really hard, and he's all over that pitch, and he's leading by example in the same way Diaz is leading the defence. I think KDB is leading the rest of the team. For me, he's outrunning a lot of them. Even Bernardo probably is not keeping up with him that much. I'm not seeing any stats on, how many meters these guys cover, but I think Kevin's covering a lot of ground at the moment. So even though it's not quite all coming off for him, he's putting it in for the team. He's playing for the team, and that's great to see for me.
Yeah, definitely. He tweeted as well after the game, the only way is up, with his celebration. Next up then, Bernardo Silva, who you've just mentioned there, his stats look like this. 53 touches, 94% accurate passes, none out of 1 accurate crosses, 1 out of 3 accurate long balls, 1 shot on target, 1 out of 1 aerial duels were won. 5 times he lost a possession, 1 foul, 1 block shot, and 1 interception. Thoughts on Bernardo's performance, Bernard?
Yeah, very quiet, very quiet. Very rarely noticed him. That heat map, it's not very not very hot, is it? It's very, very lukewarm most of the time. Again, bit like Roger. I think the game sort of passed him by the way Brentford were playing it. He couldn't really get involved that much in where Pep was asking. He wasn't a ball carrier. He wasn't having to go in defence and carry it into attack. He's all in there last sort of third anyway. So he had an okay shot that, from distance looked as though it might be going into the top corner, but obviously it was quite an easy catch for the goalkeeper in the end. But yeah, a quiet game from Bernardo. No lacking of effort, obviously, but just a quiet one.
Yeah, didn't have much to do at all. Next up then is the scorer of the first goal, Riyad Mahrez's stats look like this. Scored the goal, of course, 1 shot on target, none out of 3 successful dribble attempts, 50 touches, 88% accurate passes, 1 out of 7 accurate crosses, 3 out of 3 accurate long balls, none out of 3 ground duels were won, 1 out of 2 aerial duels were won, 16 times he lost the possession as well. What was your thoughts on Mahrez's performance, Bernard?
A bit surprised at the none out of 7 crosses stat, because I thought it was doing okay. A lot of what we did in that first half, as I say, you had Sterling's pace on the other side, but Mahrez was sort of collecting the ball on the edge of the 18-yard box and trying to weave it through or pass it to someone. So I thought he played okay. And finally, as I said, he's making himself undroppable because he's the only guy who can score penalties. So that'll do for me, even though obviously it wasn't his greatest game. He always looks dangerous. As I say, those stats show that he didn't have the greatest game, but hey, I think I said on another channel, last time I was this confident with penalties, it was Balotelli taking them years ago. That's the last time I felt a bit confident about the penalties. Even Sergio, let's face it, missed a lot. He wasn't the greatest penalty taker. So it's nice to see. And it's a great penalty again. I mean, the goal, even if the goalie went the right way, he's not getting to them in the top of the net. It's fantastic. So long may it continue. And I'd keep him in the team just for the penalties at the moment, because we can sort of keep on winning these penalties after going through a phase of not getting many. All of a sudden, we seem to be getting quite a lot again.
Yeah, definitely. A stat on Mahrez. The first City played to score in 5 successive Premier League games since Sergio Aguero as well. After the goal,
I think Sergio did it 7 times, didn't he? 5
something
or more.
like that. Something like that. Yeah. So a lot of catching up to do there.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the left-hand side then. Raheem Sterling. Next up, his stats look like this: 1 shot on target, 1 shot off target, 3 out of 4 successful dribble attempts. He won the penalty. 2 big chances missed, 64 touches, 84% accurate passes, 2 key passes, none out of 1 accurate crosses, none out of 1 accurate long balls, 8 out of 12 ground duels were won, 14 times he lost the possession, 2 fouls, he was fouled 5 times, and 1 interception as well. Thoughts on Sterling's performance, Bernard?
Well, we can't be too churlish with Sterling, can we? Obviously, he brought about the penalty, and it probably was a penalty. I think if the ref hadn't given it, VAR might not have overruled the referee, but it was it was a penalty, but some refs might not have given that, but he was right behind it. So if you look at the angle the ref looked at, he trapped his leg, didn't he? It looks as though he trapped his leg. So, but obviously, I think he was going down even before that. But so some refs might not have given that, and then whether VAR would have overruled it is dubious. But he's not that prat on that guy. I can't remember his name now. The idiot who's calling him a cheat, basically. He's not a cheat. He just does things at pace, and obviously the slightest touch can knock him down, and that's all it is. And he was trying to bring the ball back, wasn't he? He was trying to do his trademark stop, bring the ball back in, and then put it back on his right foot. But obviously the defender was just clumsy. Deserved the penalty, so we got that. And then the second goal. Yeah, perhaps he should have scored, but the goalie made an okay save, and he had the nous to pick it up in the first place off the keeper. All right, the keeper basically passed it to him, didn't he? But yeah, and then made a good save. But in a way, he set that up as well for KDB to score, and I think it was okay. I think it was fine. It's not his greatest game, but again. With a team like Brentford, who had banks of, had 11 men in their own box, you just needed Raheem at least had a little bit of pace to try and get round the outside of him, and that made a big difference, especially in the first half. Not so much in the second half, but certainly in the first half it did. So it was okay. He was fine. He's not the old Raheem yet, but he had 2 goals, and he had a big part of both of them.
Yeah. Another stat on Sterling, he's now won the most penalties in Premier League history with 23.
Richard Keys, wasn't it? Richard Keys, the prat who says he's basically a cheat, who called him that. So I think I saw some of the responses today on Twitter, so he's got plenty of stick, not just from City fans either, he's got plenty of stick from other fans from other teams as well, so that was good to see.
Yeah. He tweeted after the game, 3 points and we move. He also said they're a difficult side to break down, but we stuck to it and got 2 goals. We tried to keep creating chances and hopefully take one. They defended well and had a tight unit. We just had to keep probing and find the gaps. Next up then, the final starter, of course, Phil Folden. His stats look like this. 1 shot off target, 37 touches, 82% accurate passes, 3 key passes, none out of 1 accurate crosses, 2 out of 2 accurate long balls, 1 big chance created, 1 out of 2 ground duels were won, none out of 1 aerial duels were won, 8 times he lost a possession, no fouls, he was fouled once, 1 offside as well. Thoughts on Folden's performance, Bernard?
Again, a bit quiet. Phil Folden again. Not particularly meant he had a bad game. I just thought it was a little bit quiet. He did 2 or 3 nice things, but again went under the radar in the same way Bernardo didn't have a bad game. You just didn't really notice him. Rodri didn't have a bad game. You just didn't notice him. I think the team as a whole played very, very well. I think Folden contributed, and I think he was playing in a role that he doesn't like. He was playing up the middle. He's not good. He's not good up the middle. He doesn't like it. I don't think it's not his best attribute. So Pep obviously forced to play him there, presumably. As I said, I think long term, I'm sure he'll want to play Grealish there more and more rather than Phil Foden, and put Phil Foden back out on the wing where he's far, far better. But again, quiet, but not because he had a bad game, just because again, it didn't sort of play to his strengths.
Yeah. Next up then, onto the subs. The first sub was Jack Grealish. His stats look like this. 23 minutes he was on the pitch, 27 touches, 100% accurate passes, 1 out of 1 accurate crosses, none out of 1 successful dribble attempts, 1 out of 2 ground duels were won. He lost possession twice. He was fouled once as well. Thoughts on Grealish's performance?
Yeah, he just moved the ball basically, didn't he? I think we saw that someone did a sort of 40-second compilation of what he does when he first came on, and I think he touched the ball 4 or 5 times, as that's shown there, 100% pass accuracy. And yeah, he just kept moving that ball with the rest of the team and giving an option without being anything dramatic or creating anything. And I think at that stage of the game, I think it was just before the second goal, wasn't it? I mean, obviously, once that second goal went in, it was game over anyway. It was just a matter of controlling the game, and he just, I think he did what Pep wanted him to do without being too spectacular.
Yeah. And the final player, actually, we got a tweet from Grealish. He says dub as well.
What's that mean? What's that mean?
Like W win, something like that.
As long as it's not a stew or whatever it is, I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what I've heard. I've seen it written down, but I've never heard it. I avoid United things if I can help it.
Yeah. Well, everyone wants to avoid that message. We'll go to Ilkay Gundogan then, the final player. Who came off the bench. 19 minutes he was on the pitch, 15 touches, 100% accurate passes, and yeah, that's it really about Gundogan.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, Gundogan. Yeah. I don't know. I expect to see more of him. Again, he's a bit like John Stones. He's not been getting the call very much. And I think Gundogan he needs to play. He's no good. He's no good having resting and coming on for 20 minutes. He needs consistently to play for his own self as well as for the team. He's a far better player to play in the team. But as I say, at the moment with everyone fit, it's proving a little bit difficult for Pep to squeeze them all in. But as I say, didn't have much time to do much and didn't do anything particularly wrong.
Yeah. We'll move to Pep then. Did he get it right the other night?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you look at what he was doing, and obviously with John Stones at right back, I've been having a quick look at highlights of Sporting Lisbon today and seeing how they play, and obviously they are pacey. You expect for a lot of these European teams have younger players who are quite pacey on the wings, etc. So whether Stones will cope with a better, being attacked. Let's face it, Brentford didn't attack us that much, so he coped reasonably well. But he's got another game, hasn't he, Pep? He's got Norwich to look at. It'll be interesting to see. But if Walker starts against Norwich, perhaps he was happy with obviously his experiment against Brentford. But it'd be interesting to see against Norwich what team does start. And, if he does put Walker back in, which I think he will, obviously he's sort of saying, yeah, it'll work. It'll be fine on the night. It'll all be all right on the night. But, I think Pep did what he could. I don't think there's any real tactical change, any tactical masterclass. He just said basically play the ball around, tire them out, and we'll get chances or they'll make mistakes. And that's exactly what happened with Brentford. They're not a good enough team to hang on for 90 minutes without making mistakes. And so I think Pep, on the basis of the team he put out, I wouldn't have argued particularly with it on the basis of what we think he was doing.
Yeah. We got a couple of quotes here from Pep as well. He says, they're so difficult to attack, aggressive, high pressing. We build up, they drop and defend so deep. Be patient, make no mistakes, and in the end, we got the result. He also said, very satisfied with the performance. We conceded one shot, a few corners, and we were patient. Difficult when they defend deep with 10 players in their 18-yard box. He also said, João Cancelo is a fullback, but was our best winger versus Brentford. Incredible top form. He also said on Mahrez, a guaranteed penalty taker right now. He shoots both sides, left and right, and he's aggressive. Someone asked whether City are the best team in the world. Pep said no, because we are not the best team in the world. The best team is Chelsea because they won the Champions League. He also said, I don't care, be happy, we are in a good position. We have to qualify for the Champions League, then win the Premier League, eat, rest, train. Everyone has to be ready. And the final quote, that's not a quote, that's a stat. De Bruyne now has 85 goal involvements, 35 goals, 50 assists in 96 Premier League appearances at the Etihad Stadium. And the stat on Pep, now recorded 100 clean sheets in the Premier League under his reign as well. So next up, we'll talk about Brentford. How do you think they played?
Funny, isn't it? I mean, I think they play 3 teams around them in the next 5 or 6 games. And I think the problem with Brentford is when they started the season, they didn't expect to do too much, and they probably expected to go back down. Let's be honest, but they didn't strengthen that much, to be honest. So they started off and they got some victories and they got some losses, but they enjoyed it. And now it's getting to the last third of the season, and they're sort of in a reasonable position, by no means safe, as we know. They're starting to get a bit cagey, I think. Mr. Frank, is it Thomas? Is it Frank's the manager? He's getting a bit cagey now because obviously he's probably coming under pressure to try and stay in the Premier League. And at the start of the season, if they went straight down, no one was going to complain. The fans weren't going to complain. The chairman probably wasn't going to complain because it's a hell of a leap from the Championship. But now, obviously, it's getting to the crux of the matter, and obviously they have got a little bit of a cushion, but it's not much. And I think they've got a couple of really tough games, and then they played the 3 teams that are in and around them, round the bottom. So they have to be a bit more. I keep using it, a bit more positive. I think they weren't really positive last night. All right, they might be looking after the goal average. They might be thinking goal difference. I'm not too sure. I think the goal difference is okay. I can't remember offhand now. So they might have been trying to make sure they didn't get beat by a cricket score by being defensive and being organised, but they need to be a bit more positive. And they've probably got a couple of players to come back, as I say, that lad from injury that didn't play last night. So it'd be very interesting over the next 6 games. Because there's not many teams are going to. Newcastle look as though they could get out of it now. Leeds have probably got enough to get out of it. They keep picking points. So it's only Everton. Might get dragged into it, and Brentford get dragged into the bottom 3. So they have to be very, very careful. But a bit more. But the trouble is, a bit more positivity. But the nerves now. I think the nerves are going. It's getting to the last 13, 14, 15 games. They're still okay. But obviously, they keep getting beat. They've lost 5 on the trot now. I think that was the 5th league game on the trot. So of all the teams in the Premier League, I think they're in the worst state at the moment. They've got the worst record just at this point in time, even to all the teams, even the ones at the bottom. So a little bit worried about them that they've lost that, but understandable. I mean, it is understandable. They want to survive. It's like a little dream, isn't it? And even if they just survive a season, it'd be nice for them. But I think the next 6 games will get an idea. If they can pick up, say, 8 or 9 points, I think they'll be fine because they only need about 6 or 7 then for the last 8 or 9 games. So, but they've got to pick up the 8 or 9 points.
Yeah. Thomas Frank also said City are currently the best team in the world. Another stat on City then. The updated top scorers. Mahrez with 16, Sterling with 9, De Bruyne 8, Bernardo 8, Folden 7, Jesus 6, and Gundogan 6 as well. We'll move on to the fans then. Here's a picture of the Brentford fans. Quite a good turnout for a Wednesday night. Sold out lower and middle tier, an empty block though in the top tier. Overall then, Bernard, what was your thoughts on the fans?
Yeah, I thought the atmosphere was slightly better than Fulham, to be honest with you. I thought it was a little bit better. Brentford fans are okay. I mean, they only started singing like in the 88th minute on a regular basis. Whether you sing one of these songs that goes on for 3 or 4 minutes, that's the only time they did it as the game was coming to a conclusion. But yeah, I think there was 51 and a half there last night, supposedly, but there certainly wasn't as many empty seats as there was with the Fulham game, and there was supposed to be a bigger crowd at the Fulham game, but obviously we know these things and never work out correctly anyway. But yeah, it was all right. It wasn't great. It wasn't bouncing. Or anything like that. It was all right. It was fine for Brentford on an evening game with not the most exciting game, but I thought Brentford fans are okay, and then City fans were just okay. That's about it, really.
Yeah. We'll move on to the referee then, Darren England. How do you think he did?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think a couple of people said he wasn't great, but I didn't really think he did that much wrong. He gave the penalty, which, as I said, some other refs might not give that. They might have just waited for VAR to say whether it's worth looking at the screen or not. But at least he was brave enough to do that. It was 0-0 at the time, so he didn't sort of have to give the penalty, if you like. So that was good. He's not the most. I don't think he's the most experienced ref. One of the least experienced that's reffing in the top tier. Yeah, I don't think there's anything drastic, and I don't think the way Brentford and City played, they give him anything to panic. You know, it wasn't a dirty game by any means. So yeah, I think it all handled itself pretty well.
Yeah. We'll ask you just before we look at the table, your man of the match, who you giving it to?
Yeah, well, I know Cancelo's unanimously been voted, hasn't he? But I mean, I was sort of looking outside of that, as I said, because I was a bit disappointed with his first half, and a bit disappointed that not much, a lot of what he did in the second half was excellent, but it didn't come to it, didn't amount to anything. He didn't give us anything. So I was looking elsewhere, and I just couldn't see. I think for the second game in a row, or certainly 2 in the last 3 games, I couldn't see past KDB just because his total work ethic and the fact he scored a goal and just the way he never gives up. He's not, I think that them stats before showed he wasn't. A lot of passes weren't completed by him, but I just think the way he's working at the moment, I don't expect it from KDB. I mean, I'm probably, he probably does work hard, but I don't remember him working this hard before playing for City. He's always been, but I think because he's not quite hitting the heights he has done in the past, I think that's making him put the extra work in, and that's great. That's for me. So I made Kevin De Bruyne my man of the match, probably the second time in the last 3 games, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, to be honest. We'll look at the Premier League table then. We're currently top, 9 points clear. Liverpool with a game in hand. They also won last night 2-0 against Leicester. Brentford are down in 14th place. They're currently 6 points clear of the bottom 3. How are you feeling for the title then? With 9 points clear.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool got some easy games. Liverpool have certainly got the next 5 or 6 easy games than we have. So I'm looking at the Liverpool games and thinking they're going to win every single one. So that means we've got to win every single one because we sort of play them, I think, game 7 or 8 or something like that. So if we can go into that Liverpool game, I don't know if they're going to play the game in hand or go another game behind. I'm not too sure. But if we can go into that with the worst we could be, a 6-point deficit, like as it is now, if they win the game or games in hand, will be okay. But if it's closer, I'll begin to panic a little bit. But as I say, Liverpool haven't got very tough games coming up. We've got Tottenham. All right, we should beat Tottenham. We've got United, haven't we, as well? A couple of Everton away. I mean, I know it should be an easy game, but there's always something about Everton away that frightens City fans. From even though we've done very well recently, of course, we know we've failed at Everton away before now. So it's going to be hard because I know it's easy for us to say Liverpool look as though going to win everyone and we don't, because we get. I mean, even Norwich, we're thinking, we might struggle against Norwich because they're on a bit of a run. They've won 3 out of the last 4, I think, now, Norwich. But that's typical half full, isn't it? But yeah, I can't see Liverpool dropping any points in the next 6 or 7 games. So the pressure's on, mate. I mean, obviously, it's always has been that way, obviously, but because 6 points is nothing. 6 points is now. I mean, if they come to the Etihad 6 points behind and they win it, it's down to 3 points. It's absolutely nothing. And Liverpool, they got this new guy now who's the best in the world, like they always are when they come to Liverpool. The Portuguese lad. He's the best Portuguese player in the league, apparently. This all of a sudden he's only played one, and he only played 1 game, I think, or 2. So now they've got him. Obviously, the pressure's on, but yeah, I'm still confident. But we just have to keep doing it. As I said, I don't think City have really hit the straps yet. I think we can play a lot better. I mean, Frank said we're the best team in the world. He's got to say that. We've just beaten his team. I possibly don't think. I think we've got the potential to be the best team in the world, but I certainly don't think we're playing as the best team in the world at the moment. But yeah, let's just keep winning. If we keep winning, we're fine. If we keep winning, and even if we lose one against Liverpool, and we keep winning the rest, we've still got to win it. So it doesn't matter. And let Liverpool feel the pressure.
Yeah, and tomorrow evening, 5:30 kickoff away at Carrow Road, Norwich away. How are you feeling for that one?
Yeah, again, the last time we went, we got beat, mate, 2 years ago. So we got beat 3-2, and that was an awful game. We absolutely battered them, but they took the goals well, and we couldn't hit a barn door. I don't know if you remember that one from a couple of years ago. It wasn't great. I think Sergio got one back just before half time. We went 2-0 down. Sergio got one back just on the stroke of half time. You thought, well, second half we're going to demolish them, and then they went 3-1 up in about 5 minutes, and we didn't score to about the 88th minute. I think Rodri scored a second goal for us, but we were awful. And Norwich are playing with confidence. They are playing with confidence. They've had an FA Cup win, and I think they've had 2 wins and a draw in the league. So I mean, they're not, the confidence is up, and But having said that, we should at least beat them by 2 or 3. Of course we should. But the last away game at Southampton, we should have beat them by 2 or 3, and it just didn't happen on the day. So we're going to have to be at it. We're going to have to be a bit pacier than we were against Brentford. But I think we will do that, because I think Norwich will have a go. I think Norwich will at least have a go at attacking. Let's hope they won't get much change from us and we dominate. But yeah, we've got, again, I think we said it before, we don't beat Norwich, and we don't deserve anything anyway. We've got to go to Norwich and beat them. It's as simple as that. And we've got a fully fit squad. Only Palmer and Jesus, I think, are still injured, aren't they? Only those 2 guys out. So we've got a fully fit squad. So yes, we should be at least going for a 2-goal winning margin, or hopefully a 3-goal winning margin to ease the nerves a little bit.
Yeah. And we'll wrap it up there then. I think we've covered everything, to be honest. Overall, comfortable 2-0 win at home to Brentford on Wednesday night. Just before we wrap it up, Bernard, where can we find you, mate?
Yeah, just a starting point, just on Twitter at Bernard_Dineen, and then obviously you can follow my YouTube channel on City, the Citizen channel, and of course I do a little film and TV channel as well. So if you go onto Twitter, or if you just remember Bernard Dineen and stick that in your search engines, all my stuff will come up.
Yeah. Cheers for coming on again, mate.
Yeah, my pleasure, mate.
Of course, you can find me here, Dugout Daily on YouTube. Also, hit the Apex. That's my F1 channel. Cover everything F1 over there. At MCFC Hibs on Twitter, and also at Footy Away Fans. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you all later. Up the Blues. See you in a bit, guys.